I hope everything is working fine. So hi guys, we are here with a session on graphic designing. Hi, for today, our speaker would be Muskan. Muskan Grover is a communication designer at Pearl Academy. So without wasting much time, I'll give over to Muskan. Uh, Hi Muskan, you are now live.
Hi, I'm Muskan Grover from Pearl Academy, studying communication design under UI UX and graphic designing. So um, I use many kind of softwares like Photoshop, Illustrator, and everything. They are not only limited to three softwares. There are many more. Now I'm going to start with some basic slides and PPT so that you could understand how it works, and then I can pursue um, like forward with the process. So I hope the screen is visible to everybody.
Yes, your
And
screen is visible.
uh, so now I'm gonna start with the PPT. So I have like I told you, I have three softwares here. The main basic software that I use for graphic designing. First is Illustrator, then is Photoshop, and then is InDesign. So Illustrator has many um, like more capabilities than Photoshop, or Photoshop has more capability than InDesign, or something like that. These three are competitive with each other. So when we work under vector-based things like icons and small silhouettes and that kind of things, these are all come under vector-based design. So it has multiple artboards and spaces. So like you can work on the screen anywhere. You have a plenty of big screen to work on, and then there is layers contain multiple objects. So it's not like limited to only one layer with one object like Photoshop. In Photoshop, there is only one layer and only one thing can be contained in it. You can contain many things, but it won't be visible to you. It won't be shown to you like there is one here and then one there. You will be confused while using the software. So it's easy to work on Illustrator because that more artworks. Then coming to InDesign, there is text-based software, print and layout design. So when we create magazines and when we create layouting, so we use InDesign with multiple layouts, and they have the spreadsheet area. So when you compare two things together, so it's easy to see them together. So then you can just use it for brochures and event management. So now we come under Photoshop. Uh, Starting with Photoshop, it makes use of layering to allow for the depth and flexibility. It's not limited to only photo manipulations and text manipulations. It's like we can create more things. We can create imagination. It's not a basic software where we just use it uh, for image manipulation also, but it's a kind of very free software where you can just create anything you can. You just imagine and then you can create that thing. So it's a very powerful editing tool. It has so many tools and you can get confused, but it's easy when you uh, like practice it again and again. So it's easy. Then we come under the tools. When I will show you the Photoshop screen, you will get to know the tools where it's used and where it's having the tools. Like one tool has another tool decided. So you have to learn where the tool comes from. What does it take you to? So you should have that imagination that the tool, like I just have a click that I know the tool is here and then I have to click another area where I have to use it. So you should always practice that. Then we have the Photoshop basics. This will also be clear when I will show you how to use Photoshop in a different way with filters, with layers, and with color combinations and all. So now we just have to remember some things in Photoshop. Like there are uh, when you use layers basically. So when you use layers one by one, you will get confused because one layer has something else and the other layer has something else. So when you always work on one layer, you just have to duplicate that layer so that a um, you have that layer beside you so that if you go wrong somewhere, you have one layer with you, which is the copy of that layer, which is there are many shortcuts used for the layer copying and for the layer uh, usage. So you can do that. I will tell you the shortcut keys also. Then we usually save PSD files, the Photoshop native file format, where when you edit something in Photoshop, you have to keep that Photoshop file with you because when you keep that Photoshop file with you, you know that I can go back to that thing, and then you can create something else if you want to edit that thing. Then TIFF is also a format where um, you have a good quality area. Like JPEG is one of the very common. PNG is also one of the very common file formats when you go on properties and check. So GIF is like from boomerang from one to there, and then again it happens again and again. It's a loop. Then you have images have different size and resolutions. When you go to normal sites, so you have a different pixel formats for every resolution. For every image, there are 300 pixels, you have 150 pixels, and you have much more. So you have to keep in mind that the picture is clear in front of you. If the picture is not clear, you will get confused. So when you see a picture, you should always look at the resolution. If it's 300, it's perfect. You should go beyond 300 also, but you should always keep that in mind that the resolution is good quality because when it gets zoomed, it gets pixelated. So it's a bad check. When you give it to somebody, they will reject it. Then you have two basic for the basic Photoshop savings, you have RGB and CMYK. RGB is basically red, green, blue, and CMYK is cyan, magenta, yellow, and K is for black. So when there is a print, there is anything in any software, the three of the software, Illustrator, Photoshop, InDesign, or any other software, you have CMYK. When you have to print it, you go for CMYK. If you don't have to print it and you have that RGB format, then it's only visible to the screen. Because when usually people do this mistake that they carry RGB and then they go for printing. That's a fault. When you go with RGB files to the printing shop, you will have a color correction done because RGB is something which only works with red, green, and blue tones. If it comes to printing, you have to go to CMY because the color will automatically, if it's dark orange and bright orange, when you come with RGB, it will come a little bit of dull orange, which will make your artwork look bad. So you should always see that RGB and CMYK while doing your work. I will show you how to check it. And then today's session, we will be concluding these two things. One is like manipulation and understanding the tools in Photoshop so that you get to know that where to use and what to use. And second, we will learn about something text with text elements so that we can know that the um, text is used where and which kind of text is used where, the sizing and all. So now we will start with the Photoshop. So this is, I will show you the new screen. This is something you will get a new document when you will have Photoshop on your screen. You will have A4 custom and any more like landscape, portrait, and all that. So when we go to state photo files, so you have something default Photoshop size, which is default. You can use it anytime and anywhere. Landscape 6x4, 3x2, and 7x5. It's up to you what size you want. If you want to change the file size, you can go with the width and height. Then we go for print. print, as I told you earlier, that print should always have the CMYK color. Always. You cannot use RGB because when you use RGB, the color will change and it will look bad. And other things are just thi- the the things you want to create. Basically, if you want to create something in print, you have to work print. You can work in recent files also, but it's better to work in print. Like if you're working with art and illustration and some bit of graphics, so you can use this art and illustration. So now I will go with the recent files and then I will go with A4. So now we are working with 300 resolution. That means the clarity of the picture will be nice. The basic clarity so that we can work. You should always go with pixel and inch, so it's better. And color mode should always be RGB right now because we are working on a digital file, not a something for saving or like printing. So it's better to work on RGB. And the background color, it's your wish, but better to keep it white because when you work on white, you know it. If you want to work on some other color, it's your wish. Then other things are not so, they are all default. So right now it's not needed. So then we will create. You will get an artboard with this size, which is A4, which I selected. So now when I will work on this, I know I have a background layer, which is the basic layer in Photoshop. If I just unlock it, so now I can move it here from there. And then if I use the lock layer, so I cannot move it here and there because it's fixed. When you fix the layer, you know it that it will not change its position because while working, when you select one layer, the other layer moves, and this is a common problem with everybody. So it's not something to worry about. So now, if I go with layer, I will go with new and background. First select the layer always, then go with layer, new and background from layer so that it becomes background again. When you unlock it, it becomes a normal layer. It's not a background layer. So this is what we work with. Like a simple layout with white background, nothing. Then I have some pictures which we will use to create that small this kind of picture. So it's easy. We will use this. So I have the picture saved with me. I have these kind of pictures. So when I use, which is the basic layer, when I go for this, drag and drop, simple, and it will take time to load, but it will be perfect. So when I enter it, it has a small side white background because we have the background white. So we can't change it. So we can just control T and we can select the layer again. Only the layer which is being selected will be control T. So we can now transform it from here and there. For Mac, you have to click the shift and then drag. But in Windows, most of the Windows softwares have this only that you can just drag it and the picture resolution doesn't change. So when I shift and drag, the picture resolution will change. You can just control and plus or command or plus so that you can see that the picture is being pixelated. So we should never pixelate like that because they have been photoshopped before also. Maybe before, maybe after or whatever, but you should always see that the picture is not pixelated because it's somebody's work and you should always give credit also to that. When I will work with this, so then this is our layered background, which I am using as a galaxy background so that it's simple to use. Now I will take the one more picture and this is when I press enter, when you drag and drop, it will come as transformation. So when you enter it, the transformation is over. So now you can work on it. But before you work on it, you should always see that the previous layer is locked or not. It's your wish. If you are working for the first time, you should always lock the layers so that you know that when you work on that layer, you don't have a problem with the other layer which you are working on. So I will lock this layer for the time being. And you can change the name with Galaxy so that you know that this layer is Galaxy. Because when you see here, it's like a very small and very like minimal thumbnail. So when you will see it, you will actually get to know that what it is. But when you copy these layers, you don't know which layer is what. One more thing you should always keep in mind that when you drag this layer down, the layer will go back. So in Photoshop and in Illustrator, there is a thing that in Illustrator you have to right click and then make it back. You have to go to arrange and make it back. But in Photoshop, you can just adjust the layers from here to there. So that on the right hand side, I've shown you the layer is like up from the galaxy layer, so that you can see the layer perfectly. So you can change the name. So I am giving it Astro. Now, I will be telling you two things. One is whenever whenever you edit a picture, you should always see if the picture is rasterized. Rasterize means when you edit a picture, you will always see that you cannot work on that picture. Like this is the normal eraser tool. When I will just scroll the screen, you will get to know that I cannot work on it. It will show me a dialog box with because it's not a smart object and it must be rasterized. Before work, you have to always rasterize a picture. I cannot work on this layer also until it's rasterized. Some pictures, some icons are rasterized when you download it, so you will get to know when this option is not gray. If this is gray, then you can work it normally. If this is not gray, like it's not here, so you have to rasterize the layer and then you will get the option. Then you will get the option with the eraser. So now it's visible to you that whenever you have to use a layer, so you have to rasterize it and rasterize any object so that you can use any other tool on it. So you can now use any other tool. It's small right now, that's why you are not. That's why it's not visible. So now we are using the normal eraser tool. You can erase it, but there is one more option. You can always go to the quick selection tool. When you go to the quick selection tool, it gives you an option to select only the area you want. Only the area that is selected, you can delete it, you can work on it, or you can just make it like a normal so that you know that there are two areas. So you can, if you are selected an area, you will work on that area only. So now I will show you. When I will select this, it's automatically, I just drag it like 2 point. If you have this small, then the areas you want to just smoothen, you can smooth it. So it's never a problem. Now it's selected. It's just drag and drop and then it's selected. So it's when you select this area, you will select a bit of it. This area is not being selected. So it's a problem when you arrange it. So when I drag it, so it's selecting this area also. If this area is also selected, this will also be deleted or this will also be worked on. So you should always ensure that you just keep it with a minus and then as the curly bracket, you can use a curly bracket and use it like a bit of this. So that you know that the area that you have selected, only that has been selected. Because if the full area is selected, then you will delete the full area. Now, if I control 0 is an option where if you zoom a picture, control plus, if you zoom a picture, you have the zoom out picture. You can zoom it and see it, where you want to color it or where you want to erase it or something like that. When you go with control 0, it will go back to its place. So you have the full artboard scene around you. So now you can use it. So when I select this area, I have to select plus also. You have to always remember. When I select the plus area, it's selected, but the water is also selected a little bit. So you have to work on that with the zoom button. Go with minus and then just clean it so that you know that this area is selected. Now the dashed area around it is selected. So you know that this is being deleted and I know it. So when I control delete, just see what happens. The area is deleted. And if I go with control Z back to undo, and then I will show you one more thing. If I go with select and inverse, the area is 2 times now. The area is like side also, and the area is also that you have selected. If you delete it, the other area will be deleted. So when you go to inverse, inverse means the option that you have selected, other than that, everything will be deleted. But the area that you have selected will only be deleted when you have selected only that and not inverse. So now I will delete this area. So now I have this. Then you have to select the Marquee tool, which is the second tool. I have to select any other. I have to click any other area for that to be unselected. The area is unselected. You can work on any other area. Now I will select this eraser tool. With it, I will pick. I will curly bracket. Only the curly bracket has the opening curly bracket is being used so that it's small. When you use the curly bracket open, the closed one, you will have the larger eraser. And you can have the smaller eraser with the opening curly bracket, the left one. So now I have to zoom the picture and see what the color corrections need. So now I need this area, and this area to be erased with this kind of area. Try using unsplash pictures or pictures that are uh, like which has the best resolution pictures. Type out on Google that I want the best resolution pictures. When you will have the best resolution pictures, you won't have the pixelated pictures, so that you know that when you will edit it, it won't get pixelated. So now we will work on it. We will just adjust the eraser to the area that we want to get erased. So now this area is erased. So now this area is being erased. Now I have to erase this area. It's a little bit blurred, so I have to work on it with a better view. Now I have just erase the area. Now I know I don't want this area also. So smaller brush won't work. So I have to go with a larger brush. And also, eraser tool has two options. I will show you. Eraser tool has two kind of brushes. One is hard round and one is soft round. There are many more if you want to explore many other brushes or the eraser brushes. So you can just scroll down and you will see there are many other brushes also. So when you will go with the soft round brush, the area I will show you and then I will control it. Right? When I select this area, it has a blurry end with the eraser. When I will select hard round, it will erase the hard sharp edges. When you work with some like cheat code or some very fine work, so you have to go with the hard one. But when you want to erase a little bit of area and don't want to spoil the picture, so work always work with soft round so that you know that when you will work with it, so the picture, like if I delete this, so I know this will give a very hard touch to that picture. So I don't want that. Control Z to just delete all what I have done. So when I go with the soft round, I know when I will do this, the area with that also will also be related. So you should always keep in mind to see the brush size. If you are working with this kind of brush, and you have to see the size, and you have to also see that the brush is at the face. And very good. You should have that hand state so that work with the mouse. I will prefer that you should always work with the mouse because when you work with the keypad, it becomes a little bit of like either other. So you should always see it that you are working with a mouse and try to keep it stable. Like if you erase this, when you go with the keyboard, it becomes a little bit of hazy. So you should always keep in mind. I erase this. Like I deleted all this area which was unwanted, which I didn't want. I make the eraser big. If I didn't wanted this line also, I can erase this line also. But I want to show you. Yeah, now it's perfect. So now I need to delete all this so that the orange part is not there. So if I have to clean the picture, you should always see that you are using the eraser from a far end. When you use the eraser from here, the soft round will automatically create a erase from far. Because the soft round has a big diameter. When you erase something with a blur end, it will create a good quality of fineness. Because when you go with hard round, you will have a problem. So now I go with this. The little bit of the picture will also erase, but it won't make a difference because when you um, begin with your work, you will automatically get the experience of having the problems like this. So I erase. I will erase. So now I have this picture. There's also one thing whenever you work anywhere in the layer, you should you should always see that you're working with the grids. When I am working with this, I scroll down. If you don't have this rulers, just go to view or window. You'll go to the window and then there's an option called rulers. View. Yeah, this tick. When you have this tick, that means the rulers are on. If the rulers are on, you can create your own grid. Because it's very essential when you create a grid, you know where and when to keep the picture. When you work with the type, and right now I don't need it, but you should always keep in mind that you have a grid. When you work in a grid, it's very, very much clearer so that it's better to work um, with grids. So now I will select this layer, Control P, and the layer is selected. Now I have not erased upper part. It's erased. The background layer has been erased. So Astro, I selected the Astro area, the layer, and now I will stretch down. Now it's my wish that I will keep it here or there or wherever I want. So when I go with this, I like this. So I will keep this and do it or this. If I keep in center, then I need this much. When this is like looking a bit very odd, but when you will work on it, you will get to know the things that अगर मैं इसको छोटा कर रही हूँ, so the back thing should also be bigger because this time the galaxy is looking different and the picture is looking different. So they should not look different. They should have the same tint. They should have the same tone. They should have all the same qualities that the back picture has. So when I keep this, now I will whenever I select this, it's locked right now. So I cannot work on it. I I did the control T, but it's not getting selected. Because when it's not getting selected because it's locked. When I will unlock it, control T, and then it gets selected. So layer lock always helps whenever you just stretch it or you want to transform it, you can. Now I have given it a bit space, side space, so that I know that where till what end the picture is going. So now, right now, going, I go with this galaxy. I want like kind of this galaxy. I can rotate it. Now the white space is being seen. So I have to stretch it. So that when you stretch it, you because the galaxy picture has its own effect. If you stretch it also, some pictures, if you stretch it, it becomes very odd when you see the picture. But when some pictures have something like the galaxy thing, if I stretch it, you didn't get to know that it's been stretched. So it becomes very clean to see it. So right now I see it like this. And you will get the rotation bar when you will go to any end and you will get a rotation bar. So you can go with this. I like this. So this is being done. So very basic two things is being done. So if you see, there is a tree which is seen here. So either you can go with the bandage tool, which is here, spot healing brush tool, so that you can. I selected the galaxy. Now it's been again saying me that I have not rasterized the layer. If I have not rasterized the layer, I have to rasterize it first and then layer. If I do this, that is completely gone. If you use, it's not recommended, but it's if you use the bandage spot healing tool, you will get to know a bits of tricks so that if you don't like some part of that, like I don't like the part which the tree is there. So I just do this and the area is gone and it's merged with the previous bag because it's the healing tool. The spot which has to be healed will be healed by the background picture, which the picture in which it is. So now I have selected two things. You have got to know three kind of tools: eraser tool, bandage tool, and quick selection. So you know the basic three tools which is being used. And so obviously the move tool, so you know it. Uh, Normal move tool. So now we will control 0 and you can see the picture like this. Then we will use, I will go with this first. I use this. Now when I drag and drop the layer went beneath the astro layer. So it's behind it. When I will go like this, it will come above. So it's your take where you want the picture to get, up or down, where to where. So now I want it down the axis. Now you know that this is the area and this is the area. So you know that this is the different background and this is the different background. So first we need to rasterize the layer. There are three eraser tools. You have one eraser tool which will erase normally. The second eraser tool, which is a background cutter tool. So when you background erase the tool, it's not recommended to use this, but it's very basic tool you use as a normal eraser. Magic eraser tool is one tool that will make your life easy. It's you have to create a tolerance, so you know that 20 is a tolerance. I will click this and the area will just vanish. So now you have to see that you want to keep it 20, 30 or 40. You have to experiment it. When I do it, so I get to know that these are the areas which are being tessellated and which has been removed. So it's your wish that you want to keep the tolerance at whatever state you want. Like I want to keep it 5. When I keep it 5, the area only this is in colors because the white not only has only the white, it has some pit. tints and tones which are gray, which are white, which are dark gray, and which are very light gray. So you know that where the area you just don't identify it here, but it has some tones. So you have many colors in it. It doesn't mean that it's only one and one color. You just see it as one color, but it has two, three colors mixed with it. That's why the 5 tolerant color is just selecting the area which I select. So when I go with 10, I experimented 20, I experiment 5. It didn't vanish. So I did it 10. So the area, like my bit of work is easy, but you should not work with this. This is being undo again. Now I can work with the normal eraser tool because I know magic eraser is not happening. Magic eraser is for the area when you will get to know when I will use a fish. So I will just erase it. See, the area which I selected is also erasing, but the area which is side, which is also erasing, like a little bit of it. It's a blur area. So I just keep on going with. You should always keep your hands stable. That's why I'm telling you to use a mouse. So I selected. Now I keep the brush small, and then I go. I know this is a little bit of tough, but you will get to know more about it on practice. This is done. So now I keep this picture like this. So now I control T and select the area which I wanted the picture to be selected. So now I know I don't want these trees, I don't want this water, I just want the rock and the clouds, little bit of clouds. So I will minimize it so that I know that the picture is at what extent. So I use it like this and this, and then I can just move it in. So that I know that the picture is like this. These are 2, 3 pictures, that's why it's a little bit of confusing, but I want you to know the tools which are used here. Because when you know the tools, you will get to know and you can manipulate more. So it's easy. Then I will go to the move tool and move it wherever I want to. What I like. Like I like this area. So now this is rock. I will name the layer rock. It's easy when you name the layers, because when you name the layers, you get to know that what is above them, and you know that the area is a little bit of like on what area, and then where you want to squeeze it or where you want to expand it. So you should always name the layers. It's recommended. Now I have done this. Now if I go to this area, which is filters. When I showed you in the PPT, I didn't tell you. Here, it's the normal area because this picture is like a normal picture, like you just drag and drop it. You don't have any filters on it. You don't have any color corrections on it. So it's a normal picture. Now, if I go to the 100%, it's the opacity. If you go and drag this, it's gone because it's 9%. If I go with 46%, you have a little bit of picture in mind that this is something. When you go with 2% or 100%, you know that this is the picture and you're working on it. So right now, you have this in mind. Now, if I select normal, dissolve, darken, darken means that some pictures have something else in darken, some pictures will have something else in darken. Because darken means that the picture that is behind it will have an impact on the front picture. It will have something dark. When you work with black, it becomes dark. So when I multiply it, it becomes black. Because multiply means when you see a picture, it will look like something black and something multiplied. The picture is being multiplied with time. So I like it normal. I am not going with all the filters because there are many. So you have to explore it with different aspects. With different pictures, you have to explore it that like you have this picture right now. Then I go with the galaxy picture. Now I want the galaxy picture to be there, but above the mountain also, but a very little bit. You don't want it to be heavy because when something is heavy to your eyes, it will look very bad. So when I go with this galaxy, I will go Control J. The picture Control J means the picture will exactly come to that state only where the previous picture was, which you copied. Like if I copied the galaxy picture, it is there only. You can just move it and see it. The picture is there only. When I go Control T, you get that picture, and this is the picture. Now I want it above the rocks. Okay. Now it's above the rocks, but what to do? Because the rocks are actually behind it. You can't see it because it's obviously the layer which is very heavy. So now I will go with the opacity. I will play with the opacity. When I will play with the opacity, the mountain is visible. The rocks are visible. So when I play with this, I will go with 41% is okay. Fine. We will see up to it because when we place more things, you get to know more. So this is a very basic layer. So now I go with the fishes. I have this fish. Now I have told you that I will teach you about the eraser tool with some difference. So I will go with the eraser tool and go with the magic eraser tool. And it's not rasterize again. So I have to rasterize it and then I will click it. The black area is gone. The black area is gone because it's one solid color. When it's one solid color, the area completely erases with the magic wheel. So you have to see where the trick is applied. If it was not black and it was with a gradient, so if I have selected only the black area will only be deleted, not the upper part, the gradient, other gradients. So now it has only the black area, so the black area is only deleted. So now I have this fish. So now we can see that the fish is perfectly fine, but a little bit of sharpness has to be done. So you can do it or you don't want to do it because the picture will automatically be um, small. So when you see it from far, when you will see it, it will be like, okay, nominal, fine. So I will not do it right now. With control here because when you move the picture either so you know it that the area back will like the artboard will move from here and there. So you have to control 0 again and again so that the picture comes in between so that you know that the picture you are using is exactly in between. So now I will go with this fish, control T and go with it. So with the Mac, you have always shift. You have to press shift by stretching it out because Mac has that problem. So in Windows, you don't have to shift it. It's normal. So I place it here. Then I will control J it again. I have the fish again. The same place, same area I had that fish. So I just drag and place it another area. When I control it T, only the options, right click options will only be visible when you will control T it because that means that it has been transformed. So now you can transform it in any way. So now I transformed it and I want it to be vertical. So now it's ulta, niche. So now I don't want it niche. I want it to be rotated horizontally. So now I want this to be small. I want this to be small and this will be placed. This is just an imaginary picture. This is not a picture which is real. it cannot be real. So fishes are not in the sky. So you should always see what your imagination tells you. If your imagination tells you that the mountains are not here, these are only grass and water, so you have to make that picture real. When it becomes real, you will actually feel it. You will actually look at it, yes, it's real. And you should have that feeling that it's real. So now I have these fishes. I have all the elements that are there with me. This is the picture and this is the picture. So here it's small and here it's big. So I can do whatever I want. So I can just transform it and just make it smaller. So now I know the area. Now I know that this area is little bit confusing because the side areas are not covered with water. So what to do? So the cheat code is like this. You just press Alt and just copy the image. You just press Alt and drag the image to the right or to the left. Alt, when you press Alt, see, there are two mouse together. There, there is there are two cursors together, the arrow cursors. So that means you have the ability to just drag it and just drop it. So that you have a copy of image. You can control J, you can alt the picture. So you have that option that you can just drag and drop. So now I have this picture. Now I don't want this astronauts to be two times or three times or four times or whatever. I just want the water. So what do? You just erase it. This picture was all rasterized, so I didn't want. I was not told to rasterize because this picture is a copy of the previous picture, and previous picture was rasterized. So I don't need it to rasterize again. So I just deleted it, and I have the cheat code of the water. You have to play with it so that when you see it, the water is exactly the same. Now when you see this image, now you have astro copy 2 and copy 1. So copy 1 was the right side and the copy 2 was the left side. So when I erase it, I have to see that the water should cover the area. And when you will copy it, so this will happen. Photoshop has something when you play with images. So now the water is like a free flowing water. You didn't get to know that I have used three images together. It's just one simple image. So now I have used three pictures. When I move the astronaut here, the astronaut is still there, but it's not visible in my frame. The pictures that are only visible in my artboard, this is called artboard. So whatever I wish to see in the artboard, only that will be saved. No other things will be saved. So now I see that there is a small bit of line which I just click it and just drag it over here so that it just overlaps and don't get messy. So it's a simple way to use it. So I just correct it. So now it's done. So this is the basic layout that I have done. Now I have to go with the color corrections because color corrections are always important. This is orange, this is blue, this is white, this is a bit of dark orange. Now it's looking very heavy to eyes. Like only the fishes are visible first, and then I go to the astronaut, and then maybe the galaxy. So that's a bit of something I don't want. So then I click the astronaut. I just click the other two astronauts also and just control E so that it becomes one layer. So that now if I move this here, I know that the picture is together. If I had the three of them in a different row, so now if I see this, this will be different, this will be different, and this will be different. So that becomes a messy. Because when I change the color corrections of this astronaut, the color of this and this will not change. So I have to control E together so that it becomes a group. When it becomes a group, when I will change the color of the astronaut, the color of the side water will also change. So now I will show you. You go to image, adjustment, and then you can see what many apps suggest you that you can change the brightness, you can change the contrast, you can change the vibrance, you can change the saturations, you can change the shadow and highlights. So what you like, it's your wish. Now I will go with the easy thing. I will go with the auto tone. I will do the auto tone, contrast and auto color. So I have this right now. And what I saw in this is this. So I didn't like it. So I just control read it 3 times. I got the picture back. Now I will select this. I will change the brightness and contrast on my own because when I did the auto thing, it I didn't like it. So I just went to the contrast and I changed the contrast of the picture. The brightness, if I go with the low brightness, it becomes black. When I go with the high brightness, it becomes white. So I want a mid tone of this contrast. I went with the contrast thing. Now I want the colors to be exactly like what it should be with this. So I will go with the vibrance, a little bit of color with orange, and saturation should be a mid saturation, not too dark, not too light. Then I go to image back and I just went to the color bank. Now I have the three. I told you the CMYK thing. It's cyan, magenta, and yellow. In which RGB has red, green, and blue. If I go with cyan, I will get a bit of blue tones and the purple tones and the yellow tones. But when I go with the RGB, red, green, and blue, I will get the much tones because that's what it should be. Mid tone, I have the thing mid tone selected. I can select highlights also. I can select shadows. Then this is a color balance is a thing. When you change it, you have to see where it went because color balance is just a click of mind that you like this and you are selected this. Maybe the manipulation that I made before is not exactly same with this because when I change the colors from this to this, it may be not the exact level of which I have done earlier because it's a like you can just select it or you can just make the colors from here and there. So you just randomly do it. So I go with red and then I don't like red, so I go with blue because the galaxy is a little bit blue. So I will go with blue, little bit of purple, and then yellow. So that I know I can go with blue also. So you can do this. If you like it, if you don't like it, you can change the saturation color. So you just have to randomly choose one so that you know which shadows, which highlights, which things you want. Like I want when I saw this, the picture was little bit hazy. But when I did the shadow thing to the left and a little bit of shadow, I got to see the fineness in the picture because the black areas are now highlighted. When I go to the highlights, see the watercolor changes. I see the highlights in the picture. The highlights will be changed, the shadows will be changed. So whenever you select something, you should see what it has, what, what the picture will be after that. You should imagine that picture. So now the astronaut thing is done. So I just keep it like this. Then I go with the fishes and select only one. When you select two with the control, you select two layers together. You won't be able to adjust. You should always go with uh, you can just go with one layer and then change it, or you can just do the two layers and then change it. So it's your wish. I go with one layer, image, auto tone, image auto contrast, and image auto color. So I just get exactly what I want. Because auto tone, auto color, auto contrast is a thing which makes your background look exactly with the picture you have auto contrasted. Because they both are looking like something blue waves are coming and blue feeling is coming from that. So now this and this has a difference. This is little bit of sharp and this is little bit of calm and smooth. So I'll go with this auto tone, auto contrast, and auto color. I got the same exact same visuals again. So now this is done. So the galaxy copy I was having, if the galaxy copy, the eye thing is the thing when you want the layers, if you have forgotten to name the layers, you always get this option to have the eye in it. If you get off with the eye, the layer is not visible to you. So when you go with the eye, the layer is visible. Now you know that the layer is visible to us. With the opacity, you can just have this kind of opacity. Just in the rocks because it's looking water. So I just smoothen it. Now I can just place the rocks and I can go with any other if I like. I didn't like any, I just like the normal one. And I can just change the brightness and contrast. I can just sharp the rocks and just give it a little bit of area. Now the water and this is looking like two different the rock should be together. It's looking like very odd now. I will create one layer with this. The area, the icon, and it will show you that it's layer. It will create layer. I will create a layer, just go above it, all above it. Now, have brushes, you can work with it. But if you don't have brushes, you can just download it from internet and just take that pack, Photoshop file, and then place it in brushes. So now I have smoke brushes. I want smoke because the mountain has some smoke with it. The clouds and the smoke and the very light, vibrant area. Some smoke. Mm, I can have this is very large. So just go with open curly bracket, left curly bracket, and then this one. Now I don't like. There are many kind of smokes, so you have to select which kind of smoke you like, and then I like because I know it will set it. It's going small. You can adjust the size from here also. Is it too small? This is okay. When you selected the layer now, you gave an opacity to the brush with 59 or like 40 or whatever you like. It's just like what you like for the picture is up to you. It's not up to me. So I have created a layer, and this layer has only one thing that if I create a brush here, that's only in this layer. So I know. Now it's coming orange. So I don't want it orange. What can I do? I can just place it to the white. Now I have two colors which are white only. The front color is the color which I'm using. The back color is the color which you can use it or you can keep it so that you can use it for the later use. And you can just right select okay. This should be white. Now I can just adjust it. If you want black front, you can have black in front. You can use white. So now if I am the front color is white, so I will use white. So now the brush is white. I will just make it a little bigger and have opacity of 30. Just click here so that anywhere in the area, not the artboard, so that you can just deselect. I use this, and now I know the astronaut is also covered. Now what should I do? The water should be covered. Uh, the mountain should not be covered, and the astronaut should not also be covered. So if the astronaut is being covered, you should always try to low down the opacity. If you go with this, you just have a less of opacity. Now I will have two smoke. I will have two smoke. One layer will be above astronaut, and one layer will be below astronaut. So if I go here, I can just lower it down below the astronaut. So that now I know that when I will use in layer 2, the smoke will be below the astronaut, and when I will go with above astronaut, I have the view that it will be uh, above the astronaut. So now I go layer 2, which is down. So now it's not covering the astronaut. So it's basic and very simple that it's only covering the mountain and the galaxy. So now you can just smoke it anywhere you want because the area was looking very weird. So now you have this. You will go in the layer 1. You have now you can just have a little bit of this so that now you change the opacity to this so that you have a bit of smoke on that. Or you can just screen it. Screen means that the area which was that side, it also means opacity because when you screen it, yeah, it's like a translucent area. You can just see it. It's not a sharp thing to see. Now, when you place it, I can just place it in the other one. So that now I have that the look should be like this. So that when you see the smoke and the mountains and the water are together, it's not a like that is different, and that is different. It should look like the same picture. Now, when I set the galaxy copy, I want it above the fishes also so that the fishes also combine with the galaxy. It doesn't look alag se. So when I will now I want this galaxy to be above fishes, so I will go above fishes. These two other fishes, which I have not named, so I will go with the name fish. So now I keep the fish three, fish one, fish two, and now I have the galaxy copy here. So now the galaxy copy is also covering the astronaut. So what should I do? Keep the opacity low so that it covers the fishes but not the astronaut. So if I see the galaxy can be modified. So now I have the galaxy on the fishes, but not I don't want it on the astronaut. So what should I do? I should just erase the area because we have a galaxy background. We need the astronaut also. So if I erase it, it won't make a difference because I have a galaxy back. I can just so that it becomes fine. So now you have it. Now you can combine the fishes because now you don't want to alter it. Now you don't want to alter one fish or the other fish. You can just alt it. Now see, when I moved it, the galaxy moved. So now what should I do? I should lock the layer. So now when I move this, the back galaxy is moving, but the front one is not. So I will lock the two galaxies. Now it's not. So you can use it. I want this to be alt. I want the fish to be there, alt, and just there are two characters. Right? Yeah. So now I will copy it. I copied it, and then I drag it. I have two. I will control and I want it because I want to be a shadow, a very minimal shadow, and it should not cover the other fish. So now this fish is down and this fish is exactly beneath. So I don't want this fish. I just erase it, and I don't want the fin to cover the fish. So I just make it with opacity of 11. So you have a vibrance of that, not visible. Not visible as in not visible like very fine and sharp. So you have it very like minimal of it. Now I will go again and just I just control this one. Then I control this flip vertical. Use this. I just entered it. I don't want this fish. So I just delete it with the eraser. So now I have this fish. So the opacity for this fish was 16. So now I want this fish also. The nice one. So when you work with it, you get the practice. So you just need to make it finer and finer, and that's only when you practice. Now I can just lower down the opacity so that it's not heavy. Now, basic Photoshop and Illustrator Photoshop skills. So it's just the basic tools that we use. So this was one project that I thought of, and when I combine it with the other one, the previous one, there are changes. So I can just do this one. Now if I tone this, that will be exactly, the look will be exactly the same. I can give it which are the clouds. I have the PNG for the clouds, so you can use it with the normal, so it doesn't have a background. So when I just go with it, just place it anywhere because it doesn't have a background. So I can work it anywhere. Now if I place it here, I will have opacity less. So that you have a thing of that a cloud is also there. You cannot visually imagine it that it was there, but when you just detail it and see it, you know that there was a cloud. Clean again. So I have a little bit of that. You get confused with the letters. We see that there is a copy made. I see one cloud and the second cloud. So you have a copy of that cloud so that it's easy for you to see and identify that there is a copy. Now you can change this also, adjustments. You can just change the color the way you want. It's very basic, very normal, so it's up to you. So now this project is Now I will have one other project and very little, but like it will be helpful to you, I think. So it's very basic. I go with this layer and I will close. I will go with this layer. See, you can check the mode from here also. You can go with the image mode and then you can go with RGB, CMYK, lab color or multi-channel. The other two are not so necessary, so you can go with RGB and also CMYK. It's your option. Go with. And when you use this picture, you can, if you want to crop it, you can just crop it like this. And this will be the, you can make a layer copy and just delete the other layer. So there is a picture that is being copied. So this is the only picture that is cropped. So you're fine with it. Then you can just use the pen tool, basic pen tool, and you can just make a shape. Remember that it should be the shape, not the path. Because when you have a shape, you can color it. But when you have a path, you cannot color it. You should always use a grid with this. Pen tool is on. You can just, you know it that this is the straight path and you can join it. You can change the color with the alt and backspace. So you can change the colors. You should always also remember that when you use a when you make a resume or a card or any other thing, the colors should match with each other. So this was, I wanted to tell you basic pen tool because we don't have much time. So we can just I was just telling you make a shape with the pen tool because when you make shapes with pen tool, so it's the way you want it to be because it pen tool is heavy to use. When you use it like this, the curve will happen. So pen tool is a bit tricky. So I didn't want to show you right now because it's heavy to like digest everything. These are the basic skills that I wanted to tell you. Over to you, Rakshit.
So thank you, Muskan. And
So
before ending,
thank
uh, thank you so much. There's a question from Bhave. The question says, I wanted to ask what all tools do I use to facilitate your facilitate your workflow? Any graphic tablet or pen stylus you would like to suggest for a beginner to intermediate? There's a question in chat window.
graphic tab or something. I didn't get you. Your voice just cracked.
Yeah, you can look in the chat window. There's the question.
Yeah, sure. I can see. Okay, cool. You just tell me the questions. I will answer you.
It's in the chat window. It says, what all tools do you use to facilitate your workflow? Any graphic tablet or pen stylus you would like to suggest to a beginner to intermediate?
I would suggest you can use Wacom and because that was I never use a tab or something like that. You can use graphic tabs and Apple tabs because it's very convenient to go with the work. So you can just like I can just suggest that because I don't want to give the wrong suggestion.
So that's what that was for today. Thank you so much, Muskan. And now I'll just
Thank you so
leave the.
much.
Thank you, guys. We'll
Yep,
see
sure.
you in the next video. Thank you.